We are in 2012 where Loki gets arrested by the Avengers, but because of what happened in Endgame, Loki was able to escape the arrest. Loki discovers himself in Mongolia's Gobi Desert. Soon after, soldiers who identify as the Time Variance Authority, also known as the TVA, arrived. They are prepared to rewrite history, but B-15 beats Loki, causing him to slow down and arrest him. While Loki is placed in an elevator with a 4-armed robot, the Tesseract is taken away. After his clothes fall off, Loki is brought down to sign papers for everything he has ever said. The creation of the TVA was a result of a multiversal war that once happened. The Timekeepers were able to put an end to the war between the competing timelines by creating a sacred timeline. These variants are those that stray from their intended course, and the TVA is there to turn back time to where it belongs. We were brought to France in 1549. A young child flees in terror, but she warns the TVA, particularly Mobius, that the devil is to blame for their misfortune. In the middle of their conversation, a man enters from a gateway and offers them a file on Loki. When Loki is put on trial, he raises several valid points. He mentions the Avengers, how they travel back in time to alter the timeline, while being questioned about the sacred timeline. It appears that the Avengers changing history was supposed to happen, so they receive a free pass, but Loki's departure from the timeline was not. However, he wouldn't have been allowed to leave if it weren't for the Avengers, so there is a small paradox there. Loki is judged guilty, and he is about to be erased, but Mobius appears and saves his life. Loki, however, is not in the mood to bargain, and mocks the idea of the TVA being in command. Morbius admits that his mission is to find harmful variants, and then shows Loki a montage of his greatest hits. Mobius stops the random questions and returns to questioning Loki's life, which is the main topic of this discussion. Even examples of the future where his mother has been killed because of his action are revealed to Loki. This is what's meant to happen, with a focus on Loki's tendency to cause trouble and harm so that the others might be their best selves. Loki manages to escape while Mobius is preoccupied using the teleporter to locate the desk clerk named Casey. This man is stupid and doesn't appear to have ever heard of a fish. The Infinity Stones are also hidden in his drawers with him. Loki worries whether the TVA is the universe's greatest power while holding the Tesseract. Loki watches his death at the hands of Thanos as he returns to the room he began in with Mobius. Of course, this marks the end of his timeline. Finally, Mobius appears and reveals the true purpose of their use of Loki. As it turns out, they've been monitoring another Loki variant. Then we quickly go to 1858 in Oklahoma, where the TVA arrives to look for their objective. The hooded figure throws a light to the field and stands by until everything burns and takes the reset charge. 1985 in Wisconsin, a festival is being held. The TVA shows up at the festival and detects a variant signal. They are led to a tent and the speakerphone goes off, making them alerted. One of the TVA agents, C-20, gets mind controlled and starts attacking the other agents until she faints. The last standing agent tries to attack the variant, but is killed instead. The variant takes a tempad and some reset charges. The variant uses the tempad to time travel somewhere, while dragging C-20 along. At the TVA, Miss Minute is quizzing Loki until Morbius shows up to get Loki to gear up. B-15 briefs everyone about the variant situation, while Morbius tells everyone about the abilities of the Loki variants. Loki doesn't like how Morbius describes one of his abilities, so he corrects him on what it is. They will split into two groups to capture the variant, and if Loki can assist in capturing the variant, there's a chance he could talk with the Timekeepers. The agents scan the area after the battle to set a reset charge and leave. Before they do leave, Loki has a theory but wants reassurance that once the job is done, he won't get erased. Morbius noticed that Loki is lying about the variant being outside ready for an ambush, so they reset the timeline. Morbius reports back to Ravana and she grills him for messing up the mission because of Loki, but he argues that he learned something about this Loki, so all they have to do is wait until the variant messes up. She gives him one last chance with Loki, otherwise he'll be gone. When Mobius leaves the room, Loki tries to make excuses for botching the mission, and they debate who is the better Loki. So Mobius tasks Loki with researching the variant. Loki goes to the front desk after some case files and asks for the files on the creation of the TVA, but these files were classified info. So he asks what he can see, and she gives Loki some files on the variant case. Loki goes through the files to find the destruction of Asgard's event and gets emotional about it, but notices 0 variant energy detected. So he packs his things to report them back to Mobius. Loki theorizes that the variant is hiding in an apocalypse area that is about to be destroyed because they can do whatever they want before the place gets destroyed, and they won't be detected. Loki tries to get Mobius to test the theory with him, and he finally relents to it. They go to Italy in 79 AD to test the theory, and Loki causes a disturbance in the street market. Then the volcano erupts, and they find out that they can't detect any variant energy from the device. So they go back to start researching how much events like that occur. When they take a break, Loki asks Mobius why he has a picture of a jet ski, and he explains why he likes it. They talk about the timeline and what will happen once everything is all good, but Mobius figured out something, so he goes off. Mobius looks for the evidence the variant left behind at an old crime scene. He tried to get the candy bar Kablooey checked out, but nothing came out of it, but now they might know where the variant is hiding. So they search for when Kablooey was sold and cross-reference every apocalyptic event to find where they are hiding. Loki finds the apocalyptic event that matches in Alabama 2050. Mobius brings this to Ravonna to get a task force to check out the potential hiding spot. Ravonna agrees after Mobius begs for it, but if it doesn't work out, whip to Mobius' job. Mobius leaves telling Loki the good news while they head out. B-15 briefs the task force about the superstore layout, and if they see the variant, they should erase them. They go to the superstore and split up into two groups. Loki is with B-15 and Mobius is with D-90's group, because this is B-15's field operation. Mobius freaks out, but Loki calms him down and follows B-15. The variant sees them on the CCTV and starts a timer. Loki and B-15 walks down a flickering room till they hear some noise. They encounter a man trying to buy some plants because it was discounted. The man grabs B-15's hand and a green glow goes to B-15. The man faints and the variant uses B-15's body to talk with Loki. They continue to talk until a man asks if they're looking for the shelter and the variant takes over his body. Loki tells the variant that he wants to take over the TVA, but he wants the variant to help him. The variant declines the offer to continue setting up the reset charges. D-90 and Mobius argues about D-90's behavior toward the people until an agent found C-20. They try to ask her questions, but she keeps on repeating it's real, until she tells them she gave the timekeeper's location away. D-90 calls B-15 and she finally wakes up. The variant starts beating Loki till he starts fighting back. B-15 groups up with the rest of them looking for Loki and the variant, while the variant continues to set the charges. Before the charges go off, the variant shows herself to Loki. The reset charges go off together and are sent to random locations to break the timeline. The variant and Loki goes through a portal to the TVA and the variant starts attacking the TVA agents. Loki catches up to the variant and they start fighting. Ravonna shows up to erase both of them, but Loki portals them both out of the situation. They fight for the temp pad, but it was out of battery, so the variant couldn't portal out of there. The variant refuses to be called a Loki, but is forced to work together because the planet is about to be destroyed, so they must escape the planet. While looking for a power source, the variant calls herself Sylphie, and they talk about what their plans were until they reach an abandoned town. The temp pad needs a massive power source, so that neon light wouldn't have worked. There is only one woman left in town, and she is not at all happy to see them. She blasted both of them out of her home before telling them that every person on the planet has already boarded the evacuation ship. They can only reach the ship by traveling on a train to get there. Loki and Sylvie made the decision to go undercover by dressing in disguise as they travel on the train. On the train, they talked about Loki's mother and then their younger selves. A server gave them champagne and Loki took both of them because Sylvie didn't want any. Then they chatted about love while Loki is sipping on the champagne. Loki decides to start singing and dancing on the carriage after becoming drunk to add some spice to the situation. Eventually, the guards show up to arrest him because he didn't have a ticket. With Loki and Sylvie in the picture, it is certain that battle will start between the guards. A fight starts, but the two are expelled, which caused the temp pad to be destroyed because Loki fell on it when he was thrown out. The two decided to steal the Ark while sitting together, which results in more walking afterwards. Along the road, we discover the TVA workers are simply regular folks that are taken from Earth and weren't created by the timekeepers. The two arrives in town and gets ready for the worst because the moon will collide with the planet soon. After being knocked to the ground and seeing that there's no way to save them, Loki uses his ability to stop the building from collapsing and hitting them. But it is no use. They ran out of time and are forced to watch helplessly as the Ark crumbles after being hit by a meteor. Well, that's it for part 1. If you want part 2, comment Sylvie, and please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.